Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to arrive before the moment? Why they are never surprised, never cornered, never scrambling to recover, while everyone else is still reacting to events already set in motion? Machiavelli would tell you this is not luck, not genius, and not morality. It is positioning. It is the discipline of thinking ahead while others are trapped inside the present. Most people live one step behind reality. They respond to what has already happened, argue about what is already visible, defend positions that are already weakened. They mistake awareness for intelligence and reaction for strength. Machiavelli saw this as the most dangerous illusion of all. Power does not belong to the one who reacts well. It belongs to the one who makes reaction unnecessary. To stay 3 steps ahead is not to predict every outcome. It is to understand human behavior so deeply that outcomes narrow themselves. People are predictable under pressure. Their fears repeat. Their ambitions follow patterns. Their mistakes announce themselves long before they occur. Machiavelli's advantage was never prophecy. It was pattern recognition sharpened by emotional detachment. The first step ahead happens internally, long before any external move is made. It begins when you stop asking what is happening and start asking why it is happening now. Timing is never accidental. Every action appears when conditions allow it. Every challenge emerges when someone believes resistance has weakened. Every opportunity arises when someone else has failed to guard a flank. If you train yourself to see timing rather than events, you are already ahead of most people in the room. But Machiavelli would warn you that being 1 step ahead is not enough. 1 step ahead still keeps you within reach. It still makes you reactive, just faster. To be untouchable, you must be ahead psychologically, structurally, and emotionally at the same time. Psychological distance is the first layer. Most people reveal their intentions through emotion long before action. Excitement, frustration, impatience, resentment, sudden enthusiasm, sudden withdrawal. These are not random moods, they are leaks. The person who learns to read emotional shifts without responding to them gains access to the future before it arrives. While others argue about facts, you observe energy. While others listen to words, you watch behavior change under pressure. This requires coldness, not cruelty. Coldness is clarity without attachment. Machiavelli believed attachment was the greatest enemy of foresight. The more you want something to remain stable, the less clearly you see its instability forming. The more you need loyalty, the longer you deny its erosion. To stay ahead, you must be willing to see decay even in what you value most. The second step ahead is structural. This is where Machiavelli separated thinkers from survivors. People who rely on single points of strength believe they are secure until that point collapses. People who build layered structures remain stable even when one element fails. You stay ahead by never depending on one person, one role, one alliance, or one narrative. Redundancy is power disguised as caution. When you have alternatives, urgency disappears. When urgency disappears, mistakes decrease. When mistakes decrease, others begin to make them for you. Machiavelli understood that people under pressure reveal themselves. They rush, they overcommit, they expose intentions prematurely. Your calm becomes destabilizing to them because it suggests preparation they cannot see. The third step ahead is emotional sovereignty. This is the layer most people never master. They may be intelligent, they may be strategic, but they are still governable through emotion. Praise speeds them up. Criticism slows them down. Fear pushes them. Validation seduces them. Machiavelli would say that anyone who can be emotionally moved on demand cannot stay ahead for long. To stay 3 steps ahead, you must become difficult to emotionally locate. Not unpredictable, but unmoved. You do not react immediately. You do not reveal excitement early. You do not display panic openly. You allow time to pass before response. Time creates space. Space creates leverage. Leverage is the true currency of advantage. Most people reveal their position the moment something happens. They explain, they justify, they complain, they celebrate. In doing so, they inform everyone else how to respond to them. You do the opposite. You hold still. You let others reveal their reactions first. This gives you information without cost. Machiavelli believed that silence was not emptiness but containment. The silent person carries more unknowns. Unknowns slow opponents. Unknowns distort calculations. When others are unsure how you will respond, they act conservatively or impulsively. Both are exploitable. Staying ahead also requires an uncomfortable acceptance. Most people do not think long-term. They think emotionally and then rationalize afterward. They believe their reasons guide their actions, but in truth, desire does, fear does, ego does. Machiavelli saw that if you understand what someone wants to become, what they fear losing, and what they cannot tolerate emotionally, you can anticipate their behavior with frightening accuracy. You do not need secrets. You need observation. Watch who grows impatient when progress slows. Watch who needs recognition. Watch who becomes anxious when attention shifts away from them. Watch who cannot sit with uncertainty. These are not personality quirks. They are future behaviors forming mode. The person who needs reassurance will seek it. The person who fears irrelevance will rush. The person who craves control will overreach. The person who feels threatened will preemptively strike. None of this is accidental, and none of it happens suddenly. None of it happens suddenly. Machiavelli stayed ahead by refusing to moralize these behaviors. Moral judgment blind strategy. If you label someone as good or bad, loyal or disloyal, you stop observing. You start assuming. Assumption is where surprise enters. Surprise is failure. Instead, you begin to see everyone as operating within constraints, incentives, fears, ambitions, pressures. When constraints shift, behavior follows. Staying ahead means tracking constraints, not personalities. This is why Machiavelli warned against transparency in power. Transparency reveals constraints. It shows where pressure works. It exposes what matters. The more you reveal, the easier you are to predict. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to outmaneuver. So you speak less. You commit later. You decide privately. You act decisively. You also learn to think in sequences, not moments. Most people see events as isolated. You see them as chains. If this happens, then this becomes likely. If that becomes likely, then preparation must begin now. You do not wait for confirmation. Confirmation is already late. Being 3 steps ahead feels strange at first. You will appear cautious where others are bold, detached where others are passionate, reserved where others are expressive. Some will mistake this for weakness. Machiavelli would welcome that mistake. Underestimation is the safest camouflage there is. Because while they underestimate you, they reveal themselves fully. They speak too much, they plan out loud, they assume agreement, they expose timelines, they commit before securing outcomes. You watch, you remember, you adjust. And slowly, without announcing it, you arrive at a position where events no longer surprise you. Outcomes no longer shock you. Conflicts no longer catch you unprepared. You feel the future forming before it solidifies. This is not control over others. It is control over yourself within a chaotic world. Machiavelli would tell you that this is the cold mind advantage. Not cruelty, not domination. Awareness sharpened by restraint. Strategy guided by patience. Action released only when advantage is irreversible. By the time others realize what is happening, you are already somewhere else, standing on ground they did not know was contested. And this is only the beginning. Once you have stepped into this way of seeing, the world slows down around you. Not because events stop happening, but because you are no longer dragged forward by them. Machiavelli would say, this is the first real separation between those who are governed and those who govern. The governed are pulled by circumstance. The governors move independently of it. Most people believe being ahead means acting first. This is one of the most dangerous misunderstandings in strategic life. Acting first often means acting without leverage. It means exposing intention before necessity. True, it means committing while others are still gathering information. Machiavelli understood that initiative without advantage is just impatience wearing the mask of courage. To stay ahead, you must learn to let others move first while you decide last. This requires a profound shift in how you experience time. You stop feeling rushed by urgency that is not yours. You stop mistaking pressure for importance. You begin to see how often people create false deadlines to force commitment, clarity, or disclosure from you. These pressures are not about progress. They are about control. The person who demands immediate answers is usually the one who needs you locked in place. Machiavelli would advise you to delay without explaining. Delay destabilizes those who rely on momentum, and it forces them to reveal their true priorities. It exposes whether their urgency is genuine or manipulative. While they grow restless, you gather information. Information is the currency of being ahead. But not all information is equal. Facts are less valuable than patterns. Statements are less revealing than contradictions. What matters most is not what people say when things are stable, but how they behave when outcomes are uncertain. Uncertainty strips away performance. It reveals instinct. Watch who becomes aggressive when clarity disappears. Watch who becomes overly accommodating. Watch who starts aligning with stronger figures. Watch who suddenly reframes history to protect their image. These reactions are previews of future behavior under pressure. Machiavelli never trusted calmness that only existed under favorable conditions. He trusted consistency under strain. Staying ahead also means learning when not to engage. Most conflicts are traps designed to consume attention and force positioning. The moment you engage emotionally, you are no longer ahead. You are inside the game someone else designed. Machiavelli would say that the superior position is often outside the battlefield, watching others exhaust themselves. You do not win every argument. You choose which arguments matter, and often the ones that matter least are the loudest. Silence here is not avoidance. It is denial of relevance. When you refuse to react, you deprive others of the feedback they need to calibrate their next move. They do not know if they have provoked you, impressed you, threatened you, or bored you. This uncertainty weakens their position more than any counterattack. Being ahead also requires that you manage your own visibility carefully. Visibility creates expectations. Expectations create constraints. The more people think they know you, the easier it is for them to predict you. Machiavelli understood that predictability is a liability dressed up as trustworthiness. You do not need to be mysterious. You need to be incomplete. You reveal enough to function, but never enough to be fully mapped. Your values are visible, but your limits are not. Your competence is known, but your ambition is unclear. People cannot coordinate against what they cannot define. This is why Machiavelli warned against excessive transparency. Transparency feels ethical, but it is strategically naive. It assumes goodwill in a world governed by competition. It hands over leverage in exchange for approval. Another layer of staying ahead is understanding asymmetry. Not everyone plays by the same rules, and not everyone should be treated as equal. Treating unequal actors equally is how advantage evaporates. Machiavelli did not believe in fairness as a strategic principle. He believed in accuracy. Accuracy means knowing who matters, who influences, who observes, and who merely reacts. You do not waste energy managing those with no impact. You do not expose strategy to those without stake. You focus attention where it multiplies. Most people spread themselves thin trying to be everywhere, liked by everyone, aligned with everyone. This is insecurity disguised as openness. The one who stays ahead chooses concentration over diffusion. You also learn to think in reversals. Instead of asking what you want to happen, you ask what would be disastrous if it happened. Then you design your behavior to prevent that outcome quietly. Prevention is invisible. Reaction is always visible and always costly. Machiavelli believed that the best move is often the one no one notices because nothing goes wrong. This approach also changes how you relate to success. You stop celebrating early. You stop signaling victory before outcomes are secured. Celebration attracts attention. Attention attracts challenge. Attention attracts challenge. Challenge invites resistance. Staying ahead means letting others believe they still have time, even when they do not. Underestimation becomes your shield. There is a psychological toll to this discipline. You will feel out of sync with others. While they react emotionally, you remain measured. While they rush to express, you withhold. While they seek validation, you seek position. This can feel isolating, but Machiavelli would say solitude is often the price of foresight. Yet this solitude brings a strange peace. You are no longer tossed between hope and fear. You are no longer surprised by human behavior. You begin to sense shifts before they are spoken. You feel when alliances cool, when ambition grows restless, when pressure is about to be applied. And because you feel it early, you have time. Time is the true advantage. With time, you can reposition without drama. You can disengage without conflict. You can prepare without signaling threat. You can let others overextend while you conserve strength. By now, you understand that staying 3 steps ahead is not about dominating others. It is about never being cornered, never being rushed, never being forced to decide without options. Machiavelli would say that the one who always has options is already ahead, even before the game begins. And as this awareness settles deeper, you start to notice something unsettling. Others begin to sense it too. Conversations change. People become more careful around you. Some grow uneasy. Some grow curious. Some try to test you. Let them. Testing reveals more than compliance ever will. You remain calm. You remain observant. You remain patient. Because the next layer of being ahead is not about watching others anymore. It is about knowing exactly when to move. There is a precise moment when observation must give way to action, and Machiavelli would warn you that this moment cannot be rushed, nor can it be delayed. Acting too early exposes intent. Acting too late concedes advantage. The one who stays 3 steps ahead feels this moment internally before it becomes obvious externally. It is not urgency that signals it, it is alignment. Alignment between timing, position, and consequence. Most people wait for certainty before they act. This is why they are always late. Certainty arrives only after outcomes are already unfolding. Machiavelli understood that action must be taken in conditions of partial knowledge, but full preparedness. You never know everything. You only need to know enough while others are still confused. At this stage, your thinking shifts again. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What action would leave me safest regardless of outcome?" This question dissolves attachment to a single result. It frees you from betting everything on one future. You act in ways that benefit you, whether others succeed or fail. This is how you move ahead without being exposed. You begin to favor actions that are irreversible for others, but reversible for you. Commitments that bind them while leaving you flexible. Decisions that force clarity from their side while preserving ambiguity on yours. Machiavelli believed this asymmetry was the core of durable power. Whoever has more freedom after a move controls the board. Watch how rarely people think this way. They lock themselves into positions for emotional reasons: pride, image, fear of appearing uncertain. They sacrifice flexibility for appearance. You do the opposite. You sacrifice appearance for leverage. This makes you look slow to those who do not understand strategy. They mistake patience for hesitation. They misread restraint as indecision. This misreading becomes your camouflage. Because while they are waiting for you to reveal direction, you are shaping the terrain they will have to move through. Another critical shift happens here. You stop needing to be right. Needing to be right locks you into defending ideas. Defending ideas anchors you to the past. Machiavelli was not loyal to ideas. He was loyal to outcomes. When conditions changed, he adapted without apology. Staying ahead requires intellectual flexibility paired with emotional discipline. You change your mind without drama. You abandon paths without regret. You detach from narratives that no longer serve position. Most people cling to consistency because it protects identity. You release consistency because it protects survival. This is unsettling to others. They cannot predict you based on past statements. They cannot corner you with your own words. They cannot rely on your ego to trap you. You have become slippery without being chaotic. You also learn to read inflection points. These are subtle moments when pressure accumulates enough to force change. A delay that cannot continue. A tension that must resolve. An ambition that demands movement. Machiavelli knew that systems tolerate strain until they suddenly do not. The moment before collapse is where opportunity concentrates. You watch for compression. When options narrow, when patience thins, when alliances strain under conflicting interests, these are not crises yet, they are preludes. Acting here allows you to shape the outcome rather than respond to it. Your moves at this stage are quiet but decisive. You secure one advantage at a time. You do not rush to finalize everything. You create momentum without visibility. Momentum compounds invisibly until it suddenly becomes undeniable. Others experience this as surprise. They say it happened quickly. It did not. It happened gradually, in silence, while they were distracted by noise. You also understand now that not everyone needs to be outmaneuvered. Some people defeat themselves without help. Impatience, ego, fear, and overconfidence do most of the work for you. Machiavelli believed that the wise ruler does not interrupt the mistakes of others. Interference reveals intent. Patience preserves anonymity. There is also a deeper internal mastery forming. You no longer feel the urge to prove intelligence. You do not correct every error. You do not expose every weakness you see. Exposure creates enemies. Silence creates dependency. People underestimate what they do not feel threatened by. This restraint is difficult. It feels unnatural in a culture that rewards visibility and immediate response. But Machiavelli operated in a world far more brutal than yours, and even there, he knew that survival favored those who moved quietly. By now, you notice something profound. While others are still trying to understand what is happening, you are already preparing for what comes after. Your mind is no longer synchronized with the present. It is synchronized with consequence. This is what it means to be ahead. Not smarter, not faster, just earlier in noticing decay, earlier in sensing ambition, earlier in adjusting position, earlier in letting go. You are no longer emotionally invested in outcomes that depend on others' behavior. You have insulated yourself psychologically. This insulation gives you clarity at the exact moment others lose it. And when pressure peaks, when confusion spreads, when people rush to decide, you are calm. Calm is not passive. Calm is dominance over impulse. Machiavelli would say that this calm is what terrifies others without them knowing why. They feel you are not reacting as expected. They sense preparation without seeing it. They suspect advantage but cannot locate it. This discomfort makes them act. They reveal their hand. They overreach. They commit too much. They expose timelines. And when they do, the final step ahead becomes inevitable. Because now, you are no longer guessing. You are confirming. And confirmation means the moment to move is close. There is a final shift that happens when you have lived ahead of the moment long enough. You stop feeling like you are navigating chaos and begin to feel like you are watching gravity work. Events no longer appear random. People no longer feel confusing. Outcomes no longer shock you. Machiavelli would say this is when foresight becomes instinct and strategy becomes character. This is where most people fail because this is where restraint is hardest. When the opening finally appears, when confirmation replaces uncertainty, when others expose their intentions through impatience or fear, the temptation is to move dramatically, to reveal intelligence, to claim credit, to show that you were right all along. This is how people who were ahead give it all back in a single moment. Machiavelli never needed recognition, he needed results. The final step ahead is not speed, it is precision. You move only as much as necessary, never more. You apply force exactly where resistance is weakest, never where it is loudest. You do not announce arrival, you simply occupy ground that cannot be taken back. At this point, action feels almost anticlimactic. There is no rush of adrenaline, no emotional release, just alignment. Cause meets effect cleanly. What others experience as sudden change feels to you like the natural conclusion of a process that began long ago. This is why those who stay ahead are often accused of being lucky. Luck is how the unprepared explain outcomes they did not see forming. You also notice something else now. Once you move, there is no argument, no negotiation, no prolonged conflict. Resistance collapses quickly because it was already hollow. Those who might have opposed you either commit too late or not at all. They sense that the window closed before they realized it existed. Machiavelli understood that true advantage compresses conflict. It does not prolong it. Afterward, you do not linger. You do not overmanage the victory. You do not punish excessively. Excess creates resentment. Resentment creates future instability. You stabilize, then you disappear back into quiet control. This restraint confuses people more than aggression ever could. They cannot tell how far you will go next time. They cannot measure your ambition. They cannot provoke predictable responses. Restraint. You have become difficult to model. And this is where lasting advantage lives. But understand this clearly. Staying 3 steps ahead is not a phase. It is not something you switch on when threatened and abandon when things feel safe. Safety is what dulls perception. Comfort is what blinds foresight. 1. Machiavelli would warn you that the moment you relax discipline, the world begins to move without you again. So you maintain the posture. You continue to observe without attachment. You continue to delay without apology. You continue to act without explanation. You continue to prepare without visibility. You do not rush clarity. You do not chase certainty. You do not depend on goodwill. You accept that most people will never think this way. They will always live inside reaction, emotion, urgency, and hope. They will call your restraint cold. They will call your silence arrogance. They will call your patience hesitation. Let them. Their misunderstanding is the space your advantage lives in. Now the truth you must face is this. Once you see the world this way, you cannot unsee it. You will notice how often people corner themselves. How often they reveal fear through speed. How often they give away leverage for comfort. How often they speak when silence would protect them. And every time you notice it, you will be tempted to return to the noise, to react, to explain, to rush, to join the emotional rhythm of the room. Do not. This is the moment that decides who you become. Either you live like everyone else, one step behind, constantly adjusting to outcomes shaped by others, or you commit fully to the cold mind advantage. You slow down where others speed up. You watch where others speak. You wait where others rush. You move when others can no longer stop you. From this moment forward, treat every interaction as a signal, every delay as information, every emotional reaction as data. Build alternatives before you need them. Preserve ambiguity. Protect flexibility. Refuse urgency that is not yours. And when the time comes to act, act once, cleanly, without hesitation, and without explanation. Do not seek to be admired. Do not seek to be understood. Do not seek to be liked. Seek to be prepared. Because in a world driven by impulse and fear, the one who stays 3 steps ahead does not need to dominate. They simply arrive first. Now decide. Will you continue reacting to the world as it happens, or will you step out of the noise, sharpen your perception, harden your discipline, and become the one who shapes what happens next? Choose carefully. The future always belongs to those who saw it coming.